Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Seftimor Podcast. Today, continuing on with the new series, The Success Within, all going in about that we already have wins inside of us, even if they're in the negative. In the future, they could be used in the positive. Second section, second part of this series, Steer the Ship. If you remember in the last podcast, I talked about my relationship and how having growing pains could be beneficial. So I start this article off with, how am I telling you that a relationship with growing pains can be beneficial? It all depends on how you steer the ship. The reality is that you are going to go through hardships. It doesn't matter how hard you try to have an easy life. My relationship, while not perfect, is one of, if not the best part of my life. I did not get here by becoming lazy once I got married. My wife and I worked hard to get to where we are today. We communicated, we struggled, and we came out on the other side. Life is not all sunshine and rainbows. We learned priceless life lessons being together for over 10 years. My life is better because of everything we learned from each other. We all have preconceived notions of what a relationship should look like. Subconscious navigates us to these made-up standards in our brains. We broke through these fake realities that would have left others in shambles. The reason we had issues in the beginning was because we had this picture-perfect partner created in our heads. Say that 3 times fast. We realized that life isn't a movie. Fairy tales do not exist, but we can strive to get as close to them as we can. My wife and I created problems where there weren't any in some situations. We were figuring each other out over these years, the good and the bad. We struggled at times and we survived. My wife and I laid the groundwork for how our relationship would grow and then took action on it. This is one of my biggest strengths. I could face adversity and get past it while growing. It is all because I have my brain wired to win. I said it many times in these podcasts, in this book, problems are opportunities for growth. When I was younger, I thought I would be alone forever. The path I took was one that I created. Negativity kept me stuck. My past relationship experiences did not allow my current relationship to flourish. I told myself that I wanted someone to spend my life with. The truth was I wanted someone imaginary. Perfect partner that would not challenge me to grow. I wanted an easy way out with no hardships. My life was spent searching for the one, but what I needed was someone to allow me to grow. There were times when I thought that I was worthless. I felt my purpose had good intentions, but was damaging to myself and to the others around me. This journey to only accept perfection is the biggest crock of shit you'll ever come across. Once I accepted this, a brand new world opened up to me. I told this personal story in the past 2 sections of my relationship for a reason. My story is here to help you realize that hope is never lost. You may have found a life partner that you didn't go through tough times with. Life might be easier for you in some other regards. Maybe you live a rock star life with many partners many times over. You may have lived your life to the fullest up to this point. My life was not easy in these departments. I told the story to show you how to identify the dark spots in your life. The takeaway I want you to have from this section is, if you think you are not winning in certain aspects of your life, you can turn it around through your thoughts and your actions. My relationship could have gone either way. I could have taken either direction at that crossroads. The ship could have steered off course. Our brain is powerful. It will steer the ship in the direction that we tell it to. Which brings us to our next incantation. I am built to succeed. Our brains already have the programming for a successful life. We need to make sure the right outside information is being uploaded to it daily. What we think we want and what we say we want may be different. How we steer the ship is what will get us to our goals. I wrote this in 2 parts, if you remember, just this relationship example, because I want to let people know that these things are normal. Every relationship will go through growing pains, but that's the thing, growing pain, not just pain, growing pain. Something to grow from. This was my first real solid relationship that I started when I was 24 years old. And I didn't know the ups and downs. I thought things would be perfect. Once the honeymoon phase is over, shit gets real. And if I was any lesser of a man, if I didn't go through those other hardships prior to that, even at a young age of 24 and before that, I wouldn't have been able to have the power to create something with my significant other, with my wife. I wouldn't have that because I would have just given up. I would have said, this is stupid, and I would have left. Or I would have gotten so bad and went in such a, steered the ship in such a wrong direction that I would have hurt her and ultimately not have had things work out the way they do, not have a marriage and have a beautiful little boy together and everything else, and go on adventures together and do different things. There's things that, you know, we still bicker about and all that, but the thing is that we recover a lot faster than we used to in the beginning, and we grow from those things, and we constantly learn about each other. And that way, when back in the day when we wouldn't speak for weeks at a time, or not weeks but days at a time, now is, you know, over, we could sit down and say, listen, cut this out, and we say our piece, that's it, and then we learn, and then we go on. All of this is to say that whatever way you want to steer the ship, you can. In the next chapter, or the next section of this chapter that I'm writing, I start speaking about how you could take all these things, like if you say I'm overweight or I'm lazy, or how it's just a reoccurring process because of how you're thinking. And the only way to do that is to take that out and start being successful, start thinking as a successful person, start thinking in the positive. I'm rambling here. I'll finish writing it and do the podcast so it's more concise and direct for you. So anyways, if you want to support me, I have links to in the description, or if you're reading this on the blog, Amazon tips is Seftimor, or I'm sorry, streamlabs.com/Seftimor. Podcast subscriptions at anchor.fm/Seftimor. If you want to follow anywhere I create on, Seftimor Live is the home base. Medium, Twitter, Instagram, Mixer, and Facebook are all at Seftimor. YouTube is seftimorlive.com. Please like and subscribe. Share this with somebody. If you think someone could get benefits from this, get value from this, please share it with somebody. It means a lot to me and helps the podcast as well. Thank you, everybody. I'll talk to you again soon. Peace.